notice, and this is the typical copyright. We continue with mathematics syllabus, CSEC 2018 to 2027. Schedule of videos. Those 51 videos from sections 1, 2, and 3 are all available on YouTube in their entirety. Please make good use of them. Section 4, measurement. These 17 are all finished, but only 5 published in their entirety on YouTube. We are now at section 5, statistics. This is the second of 17 videos. I am behind schedule. Next, we will look at algebra, and then relations, functions, and graphs. Section 8, geometry and trigonometry, and section 9, vectors and matrices. Original plan was to finish this by May 2025. Looks like I will run behind schedule. So there's a disclaimer here. This schedule is just a projection which may or may not be fulfilled. Do not interpret it as a contract. As I already pointed out, section 1, number theory and computation, has 33 videos. They are all published on YouTube in their entirety because they form the foundation on which the rest of the syllabus is based. So please make sure you look at these 33 videos from section 1 and know them well. Another reminder, you need to know the times tables from 2 to 12. If you know that already, fine. If not, you will have to learn them, especially since calculators are not allowed in paper 1. As I already pointed out, from section 2, all 12 videos are published in their entirety. From section 3, all 6 videos are published in their entirety. From section 4, these here are published in their entirety, and these others are only partially published. We are now at section 5, statistics. Before we go on, recall in the introductory video that I said that you will need a good math textbook or a set of 2 to get more practice questions. CSEC recommends these here, these here. From that, I would recommend a very good 2-volume set of math textbook that is quite adequate for the current CSEC math exam. Here is a picture of volume 1 of that textbook, Mathematics, a Complete Course with CXC Questions by Raymond Hulsey. And here is a picture of volume 2. Disclaimer, I get no financial or other benefits from the sale of these books. Also, very recently, a website with AI interactivity has been made available free of cost, and this website deals with past CSEC math questions only from paper 2. You can navigate by topics or years, where all questions for the past several years in paper 2 have been worked out for you. If you still have a question that you need explained, you can ask AI assistant either by text or voice, and most likely that will be explained. This is the URL for that website. On the next slide, I will show you the home page of this RSC student site. This is the home page, at least when I accessed it. You would register first, and then subsequent to that, you will sign in. So again, that's is the URL. I will include this URL in the description below, so it will be easy for you to get to this website. One other reminder, what you have here is a formula sheet that CXC provides for its examinations, papers 1 and 2, and if you do paper 3, which is alternative to practical. There will be a link in the description below from where you can download this formula sheet. But if you have the syllabus, it is there. Here is the top part of that same formula sheet. And then this is the below part of the formula sheet. So you have to look at these formulae, make sure you understand when and how to use them. You don't have to memorize these. There are one or two others that you will have to memorize. So section 5, statistics. Here you have the first 5 objectives, the print screen from the syllabus. And then you have another 5, again, print screen from the syllabus. And finally, another 4, which brings us to 14. So this section has 14 specific objectives. I have divided those 14 objectives in 17 videos. This is video 1. We are now here at video 2. This video 1 has been published in its entirety. This video 2, when I finish it, will only be published partially. Note that this section on statistics is of particular interest, as you will have to make use of many of these concepts in your SBA, whether it is SBA for mathematics, SBA for physics, SBA for chemistry, SBA for any subject at all. Most likely, you will have to collect data and perform an analysis and interpretation for your SBA. So you have to collect the data, analyze that data, often using a graph, line graph, or some other form of graph, and then interpreting or extracting information from that graph, often making inferences. So as I said, we are here. Objective 5.2, construct a frequency table for a given set of data. And you have some additional notes here: discrete and continuous variables, ungrouped and grouped data. So we will have to define a few terms first before we actually do this objective. It's not very difficult. It's something that you probably have been doing for a long while. And humanity has been doing this for like thousands of years. So what do we mean by frequency? Your syllabus says, in its definition, the number of items occurring in a given category. And that's from your mathematics syllabus, page 61. Now, do not confuse that with frequency in physics, which is something completely different. Is the number of cycles or vibrations that occur in a given amount of time, usually a second. It is measured in hertz, which means cycle per second. So if your electricity supply, for example, is 60 cycles per second, that will be listed as 60 hertz, and you could see that on the back of many electrical appliances. The older system was 50 hertz. So what is a variable in statistics? A variable is a characteristic or attribute, we met that in the last video, that can be measured or counted and can take on different values within a data set, meaning it can vary between different individuals or observations within a study. Essentially, it is a feature that can change or differ across population being studied. So it's an attribute of a population. That's a variable. Continuing with that, examples are height, age, income, if we're dealing with population as humans, province or country of birth, grades obtained in school, type of housing, and so on. These are all attributes of a population. and therefore they are variables. Now, there are two main classes of variables. You don't have to know all of these for CSEC, but I will just explain them to you briefly and then concentrate on the one that we do need to know. There is categorical and numeric variables. Categorical itself is divided into nominal and ordinal, and then numeric is divided into discrete and continuous. We will briefly look at these and then concentrate on the one that we really need to do for this objective. So let's begin with categorical variables. These are called qualitative variables. In other words, you can't put a number to it or count it. So it refers to characteristics that are not quantifiable. So you have the nominal categorical. It describes just name, label, and category without any natural order. For example, sex, type of dwelling, mode of transportation, and so on. It's just a list of items that really you cannot put in any order. And then you have the ordinal variable in the same categorical section. And these can be ordered. Like, let's deal with behavior. You could have excellent, very good, good, bad, and very bad. Sometimes a number is added to it, but this number, you cannot add those numbers or subtract them. They are just there to identify and to make it easy to order the categorical variable. So note that while categorical variables are not quantifiable, they may appear as numbers in a data set. To make sense of such numbers, you would require the code set for each variable. So if you were to say on a report that the student's behavior is graded as 4, somewhere on that report, it has to say what that 4 means. That it means very good. So now we come to numeric variable, and this is called quantitative variable. Again, you have two types. You have discrete, which has a finite number of real values within a given interval. So if you say that the number of people in a household is 10 or less, then it could be 10, 9, 7, 3, 2. It can be 5.5. So it has a finite number of real values within a given interval, finite number. Now, a continuous variable can assume an infinite number of real values within a given interval. So let's consider an analog ammeter, for example, which is this that you see here. Let's take a closer look at that. From 20 to 30, you could say, okay, you have 21 here, 22, 23, 24, 25, and so on. Now, here's my question. Between 25 and 26, how many numbers do you have there? Literally, infinite numbers. Because you could have 25.000001, 25.00002. Of course, you can't count all of them, but you have an infinite number between 25 and 26. So it is continuous from here to there. As the needle moves from 25 to 26, there are millions of readings you can get. Of course, for practical reasons, we will have to maybe round it off to maybe 25.5 or so. So you have infinite number of real values between a given interval, within a given interval. Contrast that with a digital ammeter. This has just 10 variables, 19.8, 19.9, 19.5, 19.6, and so on. So you have discrete values here on this digital meter as opposed to this analog meter that has infinite. So over here, you have continuous variable. Down here on the right, you have discrete variable. So discrete variable can assume a finite number of real values only within a given interval. So up to this point, we know what frequency is, variable, discrete variable, and continuous variable. Now we have to explain two other things before we actually get to this objective. Ungroup data and group data. Now, if you find this video useful and interesting, please like and share. Like and share. You may also consider subscribing to this channel.